Hi there, my name is Tad Hargrave. Welcome back to another edition of the YouTube Radical Business Marketing Coaching Series focusing on HUBS. And if you stick around to the end of the video, you'll see that there's a website you can go to where you can download a free PDF virtual workshop, focused more in depth on this material than we'll probably have time to go on to in here. So we're looking at HUBS. The last one, this is sort of a continuation of the last video. We're looking at the three criteria: well-connected, well-respected, open to endorsing things. One of the things I want to talk about with being one of the criteria of a hub that sort of ties into their openness and eagerness to endorse, and that they're well-connected, is that network hubs also tend to read a lot, and specifically print material, it seems. So newspapers, magazines, they tend to read more than the average person. And what I thought I'd do is share an exercise that I just came up with, that I've been working with. I just tried it in my last event in Seattle in March of 2007. And I thought I would share it here because I think it's interesting. I think it's got some applications. So to think about this for your own business. Now when I do this at the weekends, I usually ask people to think about if we were looking at trying to find the hubs in the group, in the room, for holistic practitioners, I would ask these questions. And so I'm going to ask you these questions. I'd ask you to think about, well, let's think about it with a holistic practitioner. So let's say that you were talking to a holistic practitioner and they wanted to find out, would you be a good hub for them? Or maybe they were a friend and they were trying to figure out what kind of a hub you were. So what I'll do at the weekend is I'll have everyone stand in a line just together, and they'll ask questions. And if the question is true for them, they'll take a certain number of steps forward. And at the end of it, you see is certain people way at the front and some people way at the back. The people at the front are better hubs because they've taken more steps. So I'll read the questions. I think it'll make sense to you. But what might be useful is if you get a pen and paper handy and give yourself sort of some numbers, and you can add them up at the end, and you'll see whether you would be a good hub for a holistic practitioner or not. And of course, you can do the same thing, sort of changing the questions subtly to find out whether you'd be a good hub for somebody else or whether they'd be a good hub for you. And these will probably lift up some criteria you can start thinking about. You'll probably start to recognize who might be good hubs for your business. So question number one is, how many nights a week do you go out socially? And give yourself 1 point for every night per week that you go out socially to hang out, and not just with the same crowd, the same people, but to meet new people. Number two, how many communities are you actively a part of? So there's probably a bunch of different scenes that you're in touch with, but how many are you really actively a part of? And give yourself a point for each of those. And then how many are you passively a part of? There's probably a bunch that you are loosely affiliated with. You know, maybe quarterly you're in touch with them, maybe once a month at the most. Give yourself a half a point for all of those that you're in touch with. And I'm going pretty fast, but you can always watch this again. How often do you travel per year? To give yourself 1 point for all the different trips, whether personal or business, that you go on per year. And what's interesting is some people will take 20 steps on this, and some people won't take any steps because they never travel. They just live in their community, which is great, but it's good to know in terms of who's a hub. How often do you read magazines or newspapers? We'll say per month. How often do you do it? Do you have subscriptions to magazines? If you have a subscription, that's probably worth some points. But how often do you read them in any depth? And are you the kind of person who gives advice or guidance, usually just in general, about cool stuff to people? Are you one of the hookups for information on new things that are coming down the pike? Are you one of those people? And I don't know, rate yourself 1 to 10 on that. 10 being, yeah, I'm always the hookup for new stuff, and 0, no, not at all. And are you often giving advice on health-related issues, sort of holistic health, conscious, progressive, natural alternatives? Are you the kind of person who's often giving advice or guidance, recommending books maybe, or sending people to different practitioners? Are you that kind of a person who's often just people come to? Like you would come to call that person up, hey, my computer's on the fritz. Are you one of those people that people call saying, hey, I've got this health issue. What do you think I should do? Do you have an active mailing or email list that you're in touch with often? And I want you to give yourself 1 point for the number of times per year that you're in touch with those people, with that list. And again, so now some people will take 50 steps here. Some would take 100. I think I changed this actually to quarterly because some people were taking too many steps. Some people don't take any steps because they have a list, but their list is kind of scraps of paper in the corner of an office. So this is actually an important point, that if you are in that situation where your database is scraps of paper and business cards in a pile in the corner, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame, no blame here. But the sooner you can get that onto a computer in a database, an Excel spreadsheet is just fine. Just something that you can use to mail or email with. That's perfect. Give yourself 1 point for every 50 people on that list. So if you have 1,000, you'd give yourself 20 points. If you have 500, you give yourself 10 points. How many conferences, trade shows, workshops do you do per year? Give yourself 1 point per event that you do. Also, rate yourself 1 through 5 on this. Would you consider yourself a shy person or an outgoing person? Like a 1 is I'm extremely shy, totally introverted. 5 is I'm outgoing, I'm the life of the party. Where would you rate yourself? Because HUBs, not always, this isn't a steadfast rule, but they often tend to be more outgoing, a little more extroverted. And not just extroverted, but vocal about their opinions. They're able to say what they believe, and people trust that. And is your life in crisis? Give yourself, negative 10 points if you're in total crisis, and if your life's in total balance, plus 10. But you can lose some points on this one. And so those are the questions. And what you'd find is you can look at how many points you get with that. Some people are going to have a lot, some people have a little. Those are some of the criteria questions you can ask yourself for whether or not somebody's a good hub. Those types of questions. Those are the criteria, the types of things you're looking for regular hubs. Mega hubs are going to be pretty obvious. Mega hubs are just those folks. They're the Oprah Winfreys of the industry. And every niche, every target market has certain mega hubs. So we're going to wrap this one up, but in the next series we're going to start looking at the 6 or 7 different kinds of hubs that are most easiest sort of to look at first. So again, at the end of this video there's going to be a website link, and you can go to that to get a free download of a report, sort of virtual workshop that can work you through a lot more of this stuff on the hubs. So thanks so much for watching.